and as a private military bodyguard to various leaders. I worked with celebrities from Richard Branson to the supermodel Caprice and all these celebrities and Hollywood stars. I led a life of non-compliance with Islam. I was born a Muslim, and as such I never followed my deen. When I finished my bodyguard work, I joined an organisation, notably the United Nations, and worked with them all over the dunya, bodyguarding important figures against harm and what you'd expect a bodyguard to protect against. On April the 6th of 2018, last year, I went to the hospital and I was told I would be dead by September. I had a camera put down into my body and I had 5 quite large tumours. The doctors told me in front of my wife I have cancer and I will be dead by September. I will not be in this dunya. That changed my whole life. I cried and cried and cried, and I said, Allah, why me? Why did I have to get this cancer? I did everything in my life to protect against this cancer. I was physically a very different man. I was very fitness orientated. I didn't eat foods which would contribute to cancer and what have you. Statistically, I was not meant to get it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed me with a beautiful gift. For I was living a life of jahiliyat, and 24 hours after being told I had cancer on April the 7th, I'd done my first salah through choice and not through work. I'd done my Fajr salah and I had angelic intervention. I cried in the Masalla and I changed my life totally around, and I found Allah. Allah says, Hyder Ali, Iftihar, don't cry, I am with you. I have given you this. I have given you this beautiful gift. I'm giving you a beautiful chance to fix everything before you come to see your Maker. I protected a lot of people in my last job from death. I turned to Allah and I said, Allah, I protected others. Now Allah, will you please protect me? Allah showed me the way. I turned to my salah strong, very, very strong. When it come to the month of September, where I was supposed to die, they said, you've completed your chemotherapy, and the tumour in my stomach was 11 inches by 7 inches wide. The chemotherapy did not even affect my tumour at all. I had a heart attack from the tumour because it perforated, and I read the Kalmah 28 times. And they says, look, you should be terminally ill. They wanted to talk to me about palliative care, increasing my dosage of morphine to eliminate the pain and make me comfortable towards my death. I'd made all my funeral arrangements, and any liquid assets or any assets that I had, I'd already made my will to give them all away. When I went into the operating theatre, I took my ihram with me, which I wore on my Umrah on November the 15th. Now, September to November the 15th is a bit of time. The experts on the dunya said I should have died in Saudi. I went to Saudi Arabia with yaqeen and iman in my Allah Wajal, and I asked Allah, Allah, I want your fadl. Allah, help me. I do not want to burn, be fuel for hellfire and burn. So I came back from Umrah, and on November the 22nd, they totally removed all of my stomach. And when I was at the Kaaba, I asked Allah for an extension of life. I said, Allah, if there is no use for me in this dunya, please do not let me leave Masjid Haram. And if there is use for me, give me a life extension, Allah. And I will share my story and try to inspire other brothers who may have been on the Jahiliyat path, just like myself, to find their deen, find their Allah. I lived a lifestyle, brothers and sisters. I lived a millionaire lifestyle. I didn't have Ali Banat's success. May Allah have mercy upon his soul and grant him the highest of Jannah. Ameen, ameen, ameen. I worked as a diplomatic bodyguard. I travelled all over the dunya at no expense to myself. I lived the life of a king. I travelled in Learjets. I travelled in helicopters. I lived the life of a star, and I felt immune. I thought, nothing can touch me. I'll worry about, going on Hajj and catching up with my Salah, when I'm 50, 60 years old. How wrong was I? I thought I was in control of my life, when in reality, life is just an illusion. I rolled around with diplomatic community all over Europe, all over the dunya. I was untouchable. I had the protection of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Arab League. They could not offer me protection from what Allah was about to give me. And this beautiful gift of mine made me look back at what dunya would say, a very highly materialistic life, and I realised how petty and how lost I was. So I ask you, please, do your salah now. Don't use Allah like I used Allah. I was lucky. Alhamdulillah, Allah accepted my request and gave me a life extension. I have lost 2 young nephews, 27 years old, within 2 months of each other. I didn't do my salah. I was injured in a job-related injury overseas. I had shrapnel in my body. I didn't read salah. In 2012, brothers and sisters, I had a cerebral stroke where I didn't realise there are 8 types of strokes. They said to my wife, 92% will die from this stroke. They made my wife feel complete end of life forms. I still did not do salah. This is how stubborn I was. I have turned negativity into positivity. If I can turn my life around, brothers and sisters, and I lived life level 10, there's nothing in the dunya I have not done.
Brother Iftar, again, nice to meet you as always. Alhamdulillah, there's a few things I want to touch upon. We all live a life of, as we refer to, the days of Jahiliyyat.
Yes.
Is there anything that you regret in the past? Things that you haven't done which you should have done?
Yes, I do. My main regret is not following my deen as I was put on this dunya and bestowed to do so. I didn't do my salah. If someone said to me, what are the 5 pillars of Islam? I probably would not be able to tell you. If you ask me, where's certain embassies, I could tell you. I could ask you, answer any dunya question. But I was lost when it became to my spirituality.
How did you feel when you were, and I've heard from your own words, from your own mouth, subhanAllah, that you said you were gifted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You told us what's happened. Why the word gift?
Well, you see, I'm going back here now to our dear brother, may Allah have mercy upon his soul, Ali Banat, when he said, it took a man in a suit to tell me I was going to die. Well, I had a very similar circumstance. My wife was standing next to me. And when the doctor said to me, Mr. Hussein, take a seat, I knew it was bad news.
Yeah.
And my only regret is I didn't do my salah. I did not do my salah, brothers and sisters. I did not drop my worship my Lord. I don't belong to my mother or my father, for I belong to my Creator, and I did not remember Him for 46 years. I was so lost.
How did you feel at that moment? What impact did it have on you when you were told that you were suffering from this illness?
Well, it goes back to 1 and 1 makes 2. Cancer generally means death. It means certain death. You're going to die. I looked, my youngest child is 14 years old. I came home, looked at my child, and I thought, I will never see you leave school. I will never see you go to university. I will never see you get married. I will never be able to sit there while your nikah takes place. I will never see my grandchildren, and my mother will be burying her son. If I was to die, I said, Allah, if I die, my mother will die of a broken heart. My sister, who has been ill since birth, my mother is her carer, she will also die of a broken heart. So my death would have meant 2 other deaths as well. I, brothers and sisters, was the pillar and the rock of my family and of my generation. I thought I was a mountain. I thought I was unbreakable. I thought I was as strong as anything. Allah turned me from a mountain of a man into dust. And here I am today.
And what has He done to you? You said He's turned you into a mountain of a man into dust. Could you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, I can, my dear respected brother. I felt like I was a mountain. I felt like I was a jabal. And when Allah smashed me to the ground, I realized how weak I was when I was given the cancer. And it's only then that you realise I've all through the 46 years of my jahiliyat and doing a good job, but not following my deen, not remembering Allah, I was lost. I didn't have closure. I didn't have the sukoon. I didn't have the iman. I didn't have the inner peace which I wanted in dunya. And now I have found that. I found my spirituality. I found sukoon. I found iman, and to the point I feel protected from all of dunya's trials and tribulations, thanks to the will of Allah.
SubhanAllah. You know, we often hear the phrase, or people call that illness or a situation is a blessing in disguise. Do you feel that that's what's happened to you?
Absolutely, my brother. Illness is a blessing. Somebody says to me, brother, iftihar. I said, yes. They go, you should consider yourself lucky. You have cancer of the stomach. I said, brother, do you realise how painful? Stomach cancer is one of the most painful cancers you can probably experience. And I've had the daddy of all cancers. The daddy of all cancers. Allah smashed me into tiny pieces into submission, and I'm so lucky. I thank you, Allah Wajal. Allah, I thank you, Allah, for giving me this salvation, for I would have died a horrible, horrible death. I did not want to meet Mumkin and Nakir, the unknown and the unseen. I read books and books on Barzakh because I knew I was going there. We're all going there, but I knew I was going sooner than my children, my brothers and my sisters.
SubhanAllah. You know this, from your own mouth, again, one of your recent videos where you said that this had made you found Allah, and then you say you and Allah like this now. What did you mean by that? What's happened? What's happened to you?
Well, what I mean by this, basically what it is, if I can say, there are certain signs which are mentioned in the Quran, and there are certain narrations, Bukhari and Muslim or Hadith shall back these up. There are certain conditions which happen to the human body physically, biologically, when a dua is accepted. My dua was accepted, alhamdulillah, inshallah, at Haram Sharif and at Masjid Nabwi, to the point 5 other individuals experienced Allah's intervention. I was at Masjid Nabwi and I said, Ya Rasulullah, help me, Ya Rasul, and sounds were coming out of my stomach from the tumor site, and I looked, and 5 or 6 other brothers and sisters were looking down at my stomach thinking, what's that noise coming out? I could feel 7 very strong cooling blows. I was in intense pain. I was on morphine, and I was at stage 4, brothers, and I have had 7 very strong cooling internal breaths of something inside my tumour, and since then, while for the rest of the duration of my ummah, I felt no pain. I left my walking stick in Saudi Arabia as well, for I did not need it. I came back fixed. Allah fixed me physically. For half of the duration, I did not need my walking stick.
SubhanAllah. You know, you mentioned you were diagnosed in April of last year, 2018, and then there was a time that the doctors, obviously they give you a time, and they said by, was it September, they said
yes,
that you'll be no more? They
said I wouldn't be writing any goodwill cards for anyone past September. I should be in my qabr, in the grave, by 14th of September, due to the size of the tumor.
And when was it when you went to for Umrah last year?
I went on Umrah on November the 15th to November the 22nd, and 2 days later, after coming back from Umrah, I was in the operating theatre, and I didn't expect to survive the theatre. When they woke me up in the recovery room, my brother, I could smell perfume. I could smell so many beautiful smells. And you know, we all say, people say, I saw the light, I've seen the light. Well, I can say, I don't know if it was a light, but I can say I felt Allah's fadl. I felt Allah's cloak of shifa upon me. That's all I can say. It's very, very, I cannot describe it. It's almost as if it was angelic.
SubhanAllah. And this, you know, alhamdulillah, again, recently I heard you say that Allah's extended your life. being told that in September you're gonna leave this dunya, and then in November you go to perform Umrah. How did you feel whilst you were there? Again, this was from one of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah prolonged your life, and may Allah increase your life, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow you to good. How did you feel being there in November, in front of the Haram when you're making it well? And was it the first time you'd ever gone there?
First time I'd ever gone there.
How did you feel?
It was absolutely, when I first went into Haram Sharif, it was unbelievable. I felt, when I first saw the Kaaba, I could not comprehend, I couldn't process what I was looking at. Here I am, I'm at Allah's house. I've only normally seen this on TV, in picture frames hanging in people's houses, and you hear things, but I am here now in front of my Lord, and I wanted to maximize this every minute I had there in Allah's presence. So I started doing Tahajjud early hours of the morning, and I asked for Allah's fadl, and I felt inner peace. I felt sukoon. I felt like a child being picked up by his mother for the very, very first time. This is the love of Allah that I felt and I experienced. And I said, Allah, give me this life extension, my Lord, and I will bring as many brothers who had similar paths, or brothers of different paths. I will, till the day, till Sakarat al-Maut, till I suffer the pangs of my own death and my own soul leaving my body. I will carry on. I will be on my own mission in dunya, to use myself to inspire all of the brothers and sisters out there, all of the brothers out there who think they're not going to die. You are going to die. I'm going to die. You're going to die. When? You do not know. Allah does not send you an appointment.
Obviously when you're ill, there's some conditions with regards to travel. Were there any conditions imposed on you that you can't travel or you can't leave the country?
Yes, there was. My surgeon, a beautiful brother known as John Whiting, he said, I cannot give you permission to fly Iftihar because there's a risk of your tumour perforating. I said, if it will perforate, then I have Allah, it is Allah's will. I am going. You tell me I'm going to die. I will never get this opportunity ever again to go to Allah's house. If it perforates, then so be it. It was meant to be. Then I shall die in Allah's house.
Subhanallah. And what's the message that you want to get out to people now?
The message...
Allah has prolonged your life, and may Allah cure you, may Allah give you shifa with afia. What message do you have, and why do you think, do you think there's a reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prolonged your life?
Yes, I think the reason why Allah has done this, Allah has said, Iftihar, a lot of the dunya know you from your works and what have you. I'm going to use you amongst your generation and others to inspire, to bring back, to answer any questions to any brothers or sisters who might have any doubts in their mind about our deen, about our spirituality. I was a kind of fool who used to think I only see and believe in what is there and that's present in front of me. And brothers and sisters, I sat in intensive care recovering, and I thought, hold on, what do we breathe? We breathe oxygen. And I thought, hold on, I can't see it. So this about, you only believe, you expect Allah to send signs and give you miracles. Look around you, they're already there. The miracles are already there. Look at the miracles and act upon them. Don't leave your salah. Love your parents. Fulfill the 5 pillars of Islam. Give charity and do other things, brothers. Help a little old lady onto the bus. Do more than what our 5 pillars state. Give charity. Give dawah to people. Help others. Show the love of Islam.
This whole incident, what kind of impact has it had on your family?
My brother, it's had a massive, massive impact on my family. My children were demoralized, as you'd probably expect. My wife was severely affected. It changed a very big big part of my life. So I took it upon myself with Allah's will and with Allah's help. So I am the matriarch of my family and of my generation. I led by example. I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to help you.
Has this had a positive impact on your family?
It certainly
in terms
has.
of them becoming closer to the deen or
My daughters
to Allah subhanahu wa
my
ta'ala?
daughters have become much closer to Allah.
MashaAllah.
I much closer to Allah. My daughters have started doing their prayers. They started doing their prayers. They talk to me about Allah. They question me. And by Allah's fadl, they have also found their older brother who Allah has brought back and who is also guiding them and assisting them in our deen. My daughter's deen has gone from non-existent to existent, and mashallah, it's growing every day. And that's by looking at Allah and their father.
How would you advise anyone else who's affected by cancer or terminally ill? How to deal with it, how to go about it, how to cope with it. What would your advice be?
Okay, my advice would be, end of the day, brothers and sisters, I call myself the living dead. I am the living dead. I should not be here. Every day for me is a special day. There's only 20% chance of you waking up every day. When I wake up, I'm so happy because it's another day to remember Allah. And going back to your question again, my brother.
What would your advice be?
I would advise you, live every day like it's going to be your last. But in the essence of that day is remembrance of Allah. You must remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and don't let nothing distract you. We all think, I'll do my salah later. Shayateen will do wus in your ears to distract you. Don't let him do that. Beat him every day. Smash the shayateen off his arsh like I smashed him. The shayateen came into my household after my umrah and caused disruption. But by the will of Allah, I had Surah Rahman, I had the Quran, and I had tasbih. Do your salah, read your Quran, and do your zikr via your tasbih, and Allah is with you. And sujood is another beautiful thing. If you were to understand the importance of sujood, prostration to your Lord, prostration to Allah, the direct telephone call to Allah, you would never ever pick your head off the ground. The longest I spent in sujood is between me and Allah. I don't need to mention this to any man on dunya. I don't need to be judged by any man. I'll be judged by my Lord. My Lord knows what I've done, and I hope, Allah Wajal, you accept my mediocre efforts. But in essence, salah, tasbih, Quran, and Surah Rahman and Iman done it for me.